For years, I thrived in the high-pressure business world, but the workaholic life finally caught up with me. I was 35, very overweight, in chronic pain with severe mobility issues, terrible diet, no exercise. My health was a complete wreck. Then I went to a gentle yoga class and felt truly relaxed. The stress just melted away. I went from a size 18 to a size 8. I stopped getting sick. Pain disappeared. I learned to open my heart and I felt happy for the first time in years. So I said goodbye to the business world and started teaching. Yoga doesn't have to be strenuous. The easiest movements can trigger major release of chronic symptoms no matter your age.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hello, I'm Deborah Devine, and that was my story. My real problems included digestive issues and inflammation caused by stress. I had irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, cramps, and much worse. But gentle yoga and a better diet made a huge difference. Based on that experience, I've created a gentle sequence of yoga poses to bring relief to the many Zoomers who are living with IBS, which can also be caused by a natural slowing of our ability to process and eliminate our food. We're going to work mainly on the floor to balance our breath, reduce stress, bring relief to our digestive organs, and cool the body. IBS is a product of too much heat. These are super easy poses, but don't be fooled. They're really effective. Even 1 or 2 poses can make a big difference. Let's start the healing. Joining me today, Deanne. Hi, Deanne. Whose IBS can just happen out of the blue. And Glenda. Hi, Glenda. Who's had IBS for about 10 years. Okay, let's begin with a warm-up. Pranayama. Let's come down to some folded blankets. We are using these blankets lengthwise on the mat so that we can be supporting our spine. We come right up to the edge of the blankets to support the low back, and then we begin to come down on the elbows and then down onto the spine. You can keep the knees bent to protect the low back. Then one leg comes out, the other leg comes out. If you need to create a little bit more space in the low back, bend the knees and move the hips away from the ribs, and then place your legs down again and see how that feels. If you're still feeling a little bit pinchy in the low back, keep the knees bent. We'll take the shoulder blades down the back one at a time and just feel the shoulders moving away from the midline. They're dropping back towards the floor and the spine is being supported and lifted up behind the heart. Lengthen the back of the neck and draw the chin down towards the jugular notch. Now, surrender completely here and observe your breaths. After you've watched your breaths for several breath cycles, you can start to see where the breath is moving through the belly. In this lying down pranayama practice, this breathing practice, we're trying to get a sense of openness so that we can really observe the field here very carefully and see what's happening. Watch the in-breaths. See what is moving out. And then watch the out-breaths. Watch where things are moving down. Now, let's take our hands just below the front of the ribs. Begin to explore the bottom of the ribs with your thumbs. We're just going to take a moment to explore some of the architecture here. The bottom of the ribs is where the circumference of the diaphragm, our main breathing muscle, is attached to. And maybe there's a little bit of tightness here around the bottom of the ribs. Now, place your hands back down again and take a few breaths. Notice how the belly is maybe moving a little bit differently after that very slight massage. After you've massaged around the ribs, the diaphragm has probably released a little bit of tension. Now we're going to bring our hands down a little bit closer to the belly button. Hands on either side of the belly button, elbows resting down. Begin to watch the breath and feel the breath moving underneath your hands. Feel the breath expand and then collapse. We're massaging all of the belly organs here, pausing for a moment, and then the in-breath comes and feel that expansion under the hands again. When we take an inhalation, the diaphragm actually moves down, and the belly organs have to move down and out in order to accommodate that movement. See if you can feel the lower part of the abdomen moving out on the in-breath. When we're dealing with IBS, we're dealing with a lot of inflammation, discomfort, pain, cramping, nausea. So making room in the belly is so important. We're moving old energy out, especially with the strong exhalations and the retained out breaths, and then making room for fresh prana, vitality, life force. Please continue to enjoy pranayama for the next few minutes, and when we come back, we'll have more yoga solutions for IBS. Now we're taking some big breaths again, down near the belly button.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. For more yoga, go to visiontv.ca/healing-yoga. Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, my name is Deanne. I'm 52 years old. I was diagnosed with IBS about 23 years ago. IBS is something that is not present with me all day, every day, but it comes up at the most inopportune times. It's uncomfortable. I need to be aware of where the washrooms are at all times. It's not the end of the world, but through yoga, I have found that even though I don't do yoga on a regular basis, I sleep better, and so I am more emotionally calm about it.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we're dealing with yoga solutions for IBS. Deanne, how do you manage the stress levels when you're dealing with symptoms of IBS?
I find breathing is a big help. It's soothing, it's calming, it helps me to think more clearly, and I tend to breathe 1, 2, 3, hold it, and release it the same way, and hold it again. And for some reason, that seems to clear my mind and reduces the cramping, and then I can take the steps to feel better.
Oh, that's wonderful. I feel the same way. And dealing with IBS is so challenging, and calming ourselves and dealing with stress effectively is so amazing. Now let's come down into constructive rest, rocking. We are lying down on our backs for this very gentle movement sequence. In a practice for IBS, we need to cool the body and calm the mind. So we're bending the knees, the feet are a little bit wider than the hips, and the heels are out and the toes are in. Take the shoulder blades down the back and broaden through the collarbones to get more breath into the upper part of the lungs. And then take the arms out a little bit further so that you've got some room in between the ribs and the arms. Next time an out breath comes along, knees go in one direction and the head goes in the opposite direction. And then the in breath brings everything back to center. Out breath, everything moves in the opposite direction. So we're getting this wonderful opening and wringing out of muscles in the spine and also muscles and organs in the abdomen. Slow down the breaths and slow down the movements. When we slow the breaths down, the mind calms as well. And that's one of the challenges that we are dealing with IBS, is when we get very stressed, the mind gets really active and busy, and then our symptoms get exacerbated. So just calming the mind through the breath is a wonderful practice. You don't have to be lying down in order to engage the breath this way, but we're also moving stress and tension out of the body, and we're using the out breath to draw that tension down into the ground. Now, let's come back to center for supported bridge pose. Take the feet a little bit closer to the bum and a little bit wider on the mat. Heels are out, toes are in. Press down into the feet and feel the pelvis rising up. Energize the legs, energize the glutes, and then we'll slip our bolster underneath the pelvis and rest the pelvis down. We want the low back supported and we want the hips supported. Draw the shoulder blades down the back and come a little bit more onto the shoulder shelf. We're creating this wonderful line of energy that comes down to the base of the throat, the fifth chakra, the purification chakra. This is a very important pose to take, and because it's a restorative type of pose, it's really wonderful for the nervous system. We are moving the body into a very gentle inversion. So all of the organs of digestion have a different relationship with gravity. This is a very important pose for us because we've got this wonderful line of energy coming down, and all of the prana is pooling in the base of the throat, the fifth chakra, Vishuddha, the chakra of purification and detoxification. We're opening the belly here. We've got lots of space and expansiveness, and the back is supported, so it's a very restful pose. The blood is moving, the lymphatic system is moving, and we're moving old wastes and old toxins out from all of the cells of the digestive tract. Now we'll come into child's pose. Press the feet down, keep the knees and the hips in line, move the bolster out of the way, and let the pelvis come down vertebra by vertebra here. Lovely. Then we'll roll over to the side, and we'll use our upper body strength to help us come up for supported child's pose. We come onto our hands and knees, and the knees are apart. The feet are together, and we've got a bolster between the legs to support us as we come down. We get nice and long on the front of the body on the in-breath, and then we maintain that length, and we bend at the hip creases and come forward on the out-breath, resting the temple on the bolster. If your hips are tight, if your knees are tight, you could always lift your sit bones up to the sky, as Diana's doing. That is a wonderful way to take child's pose. It allows the back to get lots of traction. The pelvis is pouring the spine out, and the belly is supported. Please continue to enjoy child's pose for the next few minutes. And when we come back, we'll have more yoga solutions for irritable bowel syndrome.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. For more yoga, go to visiontv.ca/healing-yoga. Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, my name's Glenda Kroll, and I'm 55 years old. I'm an event planner and lead a very busy life. And about 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with IBS. Then I found out about colonics and started going to a registered nurse who started giving me colonics on an ongoing basis and helping me with my nutrition, having to change my diet, then getting into yoga, which I started committing myself to at least a few times a week. My life started really changing and coming back to a much happier, fulfilled life.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we're using our gentle practice to help us with symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. Glenda, you mentioned that you had done some colonics. How often do you do that?
I do it around every 6 weeks or so. What it helps to do is it takes all the bad bacteria out of the body, and then they reinsert good bacteria. And what that does is just clean out the system to allow that you get the proper nutrition from the foods that you eat.
That's amazing. What I find so fascinating is that some of our modern complementary methods are ancient practices, and yoga's sister science of health, Ayurveda, has a system of cleansing called panchakarmas, and colonic irrigation is one of those. So effective. And it's amazing that we can use these together and really help our symptoms diminish. So for the next couple of poses, we're going to be calming the belly organs, and we're going to be releasing a lot more stress out of the body. Now, let's come down into half happy baby. We're lying on our back. We take the right foot into the hand. If the foot doesn't want to come into the hand, grab onto the ankle or down closer to the shin. You may want to hold the outside, the baby toe side of the foot here, and press the foot into the hand and the hand into the foot, and allow the knee to splay out to the side, keeping the belly open here. We're getting a lot of energy out of the hip socket here. The groin is a place where we carry a lot of tension, especially because of our habits of sitting. Pressing the foot into the hand and the hand into the foot, we might begin to open up the back of the knee, and we're lengthening the hamstring ever so slightly. Take the right foot down and get the left foot up. We're pressing the foot into the hand and the hand into the foot in a very gentle way, creating more space deep in the hip socket. Now we're coming into Supta Padangusthasana, hand to big toe pose, and we're using a belt. We take an old bathrobe tie, one of your husband's old ties, and then we place the belt around the ball of the big toe and the ball of the baby toe. We're going to let the leg come long, unless it's very uncomfortable, in which case you just bend the knee back again. Very slowly begin to open up the back of the knee by pressing the foot into the belt and the belt into the foot. Long, slow, smooth in breaths and long, slow, smooth and complete out breaths. We're really engaging a lot of movement of energy out of the lower extremities, out of the hips. We're working with the energies of the first chakra in this pose, the root chakra. These are issues that are associated with rootedness, being grounded and stable. And when we have irritable bowel syndrome, we just never know what's going to happen. We're always on standby and on alert. We're using the breaths to breathe light and spaciousness deep into the hips and moving excess energy down into the ground. Now we're moving into Supta Padangusthasana B. We're going to take the knee and the foot out to the side. We're grounding on the left side. You may even want to place your hand on the front thigh and then press the foot into the belt and resist with the belt against the foot. Draw the sit bone down and point it toward the grounded foot to get really deep in the hip socket. Then we come back to center and we switch sides. Then belt goes around the ball of the big toe, the ball of the baby toe, and we ground on the right side. Now press the foot into the belt into the foot, and breathe deeply into the hip socket. Now we're moving the foot out, the knee comes out, grounding on the right side. Now let's come back up to center, and we'll take Bharvajasana, a seated twist. Now we're going to sit on the bolster. And in this twist, we're going to be moving ourselves in the same direction as the knees. So it's not a closed twist. We're going to be giving the belly lots of room and openness. Let's get grounded. Move the buttock flesh away and let's sit on the sit bones with the knees pointing in one direction and the feet moving in the other direction. Lift the front spine on the in-breath and get nice and long. Exhale, rotate the spine and take the hands onto the outer knee and the back of the bolster. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, broaden the collarbones and drop the shoulder blades down. Take the head back over the back shoulder and keep the eyes going. We're stretching the side muscles of the eyes. Then we take the head in the opposite direction while we maintain this twist. Now, let's bring the head back in the original direction, and then we come back to center and breathe. Feel how wonderfully refreshed you are after that beautiful spinal twist. We've been very gentle in terms of twisting the belly organs in this pose. Now we'll take the knees over to the opposite side. Inhaling, lengthening the front spine. Exhaling, rotating in the direction of the knees. Please continue to enjoy several more of these wonderfully opening twists. And when we come back, we'll be warming down.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. For more yoga, go to visiontv.ca/healing-yoga. Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Stress is a key cause of an IBS flare-up. Avoid stress with meditation, breathing exercises, and yoga. Also, consult a naturopathic nutritionist to adjust your diet.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we've been using yoga solutions to help us with irritable bowel syndrome. We've been working with the energies of the third chakra, calming the fires, soothing the belly. We've been working with the energies of the first chakra, the root chakra, releasing tension out of the hips and the spine as well. And we've also been working with the energies of the fifth chakra, detoxification and metabolism. Now we're going to be coming down for an extended period of shavasana and rest. Head is resting on a pillow, and the knees are supported with a bolster. We are supporting the knees with a bolster so that the low back can feel more comfortable. If you feel any pinchiness in the low back, move the hips away from the bottom of the ribs and reset your legs. Shake the legs out and let them surrender completely. Support the neck and the head with a pillow, a blanket, and let the shoulder blades rest down heavy onto the ground. Allow yourself to rest completely and surrender to gravity here. Look at the breaths and see how different the breaths are right now in comparison to how they were at the beginning of the class. Now, we're going to be taking a few Viloma 2 breaths. These are interrupted out breaths. We begin with a complete out breath, and then we take a long, slow, smooth in-breath, and we pause at the very top of the in-breath for a moment. And then we exhale, bottom part of the belly, and pause. Exhale, middle part of the belly, and pause. And then we exhale, the rest of the chest. And then pause at the end of the out breath, and then feel the in-breaths come, just natural breaths. Please continue to enjoy Shavasana for at least another 30 minutes. And we'll see you again next time on Healing Yoga. Namaste.